Hey guys, Beat Twice here. Today is Sunday, July 11th. Hope everybody had a good weekend. We're going to be looking over a handful of stocks today. I'll probably get another video up here tonight in a little bit as well. But after going through a bunch of charts, I figured I'd get one out here because it could be a little bit extended. So we're going to start by looking at Wish. Just because I think a lot of people may want to see this, where it could potentially be going, and obviously it's been completely selling off. Um, shorts really taking it down. With that being said, I'm still long Wish, but it was getting very close to invalidation. So basically, what I'm seeing is that I still think that we popped it for one, pulled back for a two. Ultimately, I still do think that we're in a bullish impulse up where we have a one and we pulled back for a two. As you can see right here, we hit just above $10. Invalidation would have been right here at 974. So we caught support. If this goes much lower and it falls below 974, I'll have to really evaluate my position on this. I don't recommend options just because of how bad it's been bleeding. I would recommend if you're getting in or if you're already in just to, load up on shares. I do think that this was a great dip to buy towards the end of last week. On Friday, there was a lot of dark pool activity. I think that's a huge positive sign that hedge funds are starting to get in. Before AMC launched, there started being huge dark pool activity on it. So I still don't think this is going to pull an AMC. I'm just putting that out there. Ultimately, what I think this is going to do, I think it's going to be a steady climb up just because it is an undervalued growth stock. So with that being said, I do still think that our price target for Wave 3 is in the mid to upper $18 range. We'll pull back to around the $15 range, and then ultimately we're going to be going up to into the 20s. With that being said, I want to say that the ultimate price target I did have when I did a bigger video on this was right around 30 a share. But I would recommend taking profits often just because of how kind of manipulated this is with shorts. A lot of day traders are taking serious advantage of this. I would expect a huge sharp sell-off if we get back to that 15 range again too. So depending on where you get in, I would definitely recommend taking profits often because there should be dips to buy back in. I don't think we're going to see a move like AMC where it went straight to 70 or anything crazy. And if you hear people talking about price target 69 and all that shit, I would try to, blank out that noise as much as possible and just be smart about your trades and make sure you take profits. You don't want to be left bag holding if this thing comes down. All right, so let's take a look at SPY. So on Thursday on Twitter, I called out that I thought it was a dip buy on SPY, QQQ, all that jazz, especially the Fang Gang. Ultimately, Friday showed that that was the right call. I still do see us getting to 440. I think when we hit 440, we're going to see a sharp sell-off in SPY. It could happen this week, honestly, with the way this market's moving. So that sharp sell-off, probably another percent drop or so. Don't be surprised if it happens in one day again. I think the going back for several weeks now, every drop that we've had in SPY, QQQ, or across the indices in general has happened so fast, and every dip has been a buy. It's almost like, when you get these sharp, minus one or less than that sell-offs, minus 1% sell-offs, it's great to buy that dip up because everybody seems to be buying it within a day. So I do expect us to get to 440 here on SPY. From there, I think we see a sell-off back down to the mid, 430, 435 range, something like that. And then from there, I do see us pushing higher. I don't know how sharply we'll go up. I do think that the next big sell-off comes when we hit this trend line. That could happen anywhere between 450 to 460, depending on how drawn out the impulse is. If it's extremely sharp up, then it could happen at 450. If it's not, it's kind of drawn out, then we might be able to see SPY 460 before the next major sell-off. The next major sell-off will take us back down to the lower trend line. The question is, will it break it to head lower? Time will tell. We'll see what happens. But either way, dips still remain a buy on SPY and QQQ. And let's take a look at QQQ. All right, same story. I actually was buying more the dip in tech on Thursday than I was SP 500, except I was buying the dip on some financials and stuff like that. But with that being said, I do still think Amazon, Facebook, Nvidia, Google, like all these big names. I expect to have I expect a huge run up into earnings. I don't know if I'll be a holder through earnings because it seems like the last few earnings seasons there's been major sell-offs, except for, there's always one or two big winners. Like I want to say Google and Facebook were the big winners last time. Amazon died a horrible death. Apple died. So like with that being said, I probably won't be holding through earnings. I'll just be looking for this run up. And where I see QQQ going, this was that Thursday dip buy that I called out right here. Ultimately, I think we're going to be heading somewhere between 366 to 372. So when SPY has its next little dip, we're going to see the same dip from QQQ. The difference is this is taking us down to this 4, and then ultimately we're going to heading up for the 5. So it could be 366, it could be 372. It depends on if tech's going to have strength this week, or whenever SPY does hit its next top, or not. Because if it's pretty much in line with the S&P 500, then we might see the pullback at 366. If tech is showing strength, then we could see it up at the low 370s. Either way, we want to be careful in these levels because we're going just like with the S&P 500. We're going to see another if not a percent, maybe a couple percent dip, and then that'll be a great dip to buy. Because then from there we should see a 5-wave impulse up, taking us up to this 380 range. All right, so I had someone request to see Netflix. Netflix is not something that I'd counted in the past, so it took me a little while ago just to kind of go through it. What I've come up with is that we've come down and we've bottomed for this Roman numeral wave 4. And we're in this impulse up that's going to be taking us to all-time highs. Basically, what I'm seeing right now is that we've popped it from 1, we pulled back for a 2. We had a 1, a 2, we popped it for a 3. We've already peaked for a 3, and we're looking for a 4 bottom. It could or could not be in. This may have been wave 4 bottom when we saw this dip last week, or it could potentially go a little bit lower. That's why I'm drawing my arrow out of the circle, because it still could go down to the 522 range and still be a valid wave 4. As long as it doesn't break over the peak of wave 1, then it's valid. So because we're in a wave 3 right now. So since we're in a wave 3, it just can't break this right here, 503. So either way, it could go pretty low if it can't find highs above 3 relatively soon. But with that being said, I do see it bouncing somewhere from this box if it hasn't already bottomed. We should go up to somewhere between 550 to 560. In this range is where we're going to get this next sell-off. That should take us back to 540. And then this would be a great dip buy spot right here at this 540 range, because from there we should be going up to see 580 or somewhere around there. So Netflix, if you're not already in, I would hold off until we see this after this rally, till we see this next dip. Now, if it did come back down to this 520 range, absolutely I'd get in. But I'm thinking that this was probably bottom here, so we can keep an eye out for it. But either way, I still think that this wave 4 right here will be a great dip buy spot. Okay, so Walmart. I want to take a look at Walmart because I do think that very soon here, Walmart's going to rally. So Walmart has been looking for a breakout. Obviously, it's either going to break to the downside or break to the upside of this uptrend line and the downtrend line. I ultimately do think it's going to be heading up to 150. The question is when. Generally, it breaks out of triangles about 3/4 of the way through the triangle. It usually doesn't make it all the way to the apex, and here's the apex right here. But with that being said, it could. And if it did go all the way to the apex, we're talking it looks like, almost mid-August. So with that being said, if you're going to play options on Walmart, it's probably smart to buy time just in case this becomes extremely drawn out. But with that being said, I do think that we probably head a little bit lower from here to get closer to where this 2 is, maybe this 137 range, and then from there we'll launch up. Now, bottom could already be in. It could already be in. I just don't know if it has yet, because it kind of still looks like we're correcting a little bit. And it looks like it's really been struggling at this 140 range. So we'll see what happens. I am bullish on Walmart long term, but like I said, if you're playing options, you may want to buy yourself some time. But once we do break this upper trend line, maybe set an alert on that trend line. Go draw it on whatever platform you have. Set an alert for when it breaks, because once it does break this upper trend line, it should rally up to this 150 mark relatively quick, because we will be in a wave 3 at that point. All right, so let's check out Disney. Disney's another one I'm extremely high on over these next few months, and I do ultimately think pretty much any dip here is a buy. did have a little bit of scare on my position back here because I got in when we broke out of this bull flag. I got in, and obviously now I've just kind of been bleeding away. But I had thought this was wave two bottom back here. Ultimately, we popped up, and it looked like we had a complex correction, and we came lower. We went down to this 85.4% retracement right here, and I'm calling this wave two bottom. Any lower, and we would have passed invalidation anyway. So, with that being said, I'm calling this wave two bottom, and what I see us doing right now is we're popping up for this wave one. Wave one should be somewhere around 180. I mean, it could have already peaked here, but I do think in the beginning of this week we're going to run a little bit higher. We'll probably right here where we caught resistance at this 180 mark. I think we'll still hit that same resistance, and we'll deflect off of it. And when we deflect off of it, I don't see us going too low. I think it's going to be pretty shallow. That's going to be a great dip to buy, but let's watch that. It'll pull back. We'll buy in there, and then we'll be in a wave three of three, and we should be seeing this 190 price target relatively quickly. Hopefully we'll see this before earnings. So I am long Disney. I am extremely bullish. I just really can hope that we can get up to this 180 hopefully tomorrow, maybe get our pullback on Tuesday, and then maybe within the next 2 weeks see us up at this 190 range. All right, so the last one I want to look at on this video, and then I will do a couple more charts and put up another video, is Coinbase. So Coinbase has been my arch nemesis here for a little while, just because I got destroyed on this play down here, where I got tricked in the correction actually ended up going lower than what I thought. Well, then we popped up for 1, 2, 3, and I bought in on this wave 4 pullback. And then, of course, when I bought in on this wave 4 pullback right here at this 245, where I think I put out a video saying, hey, that's going to be bottom, it just died completely lower. Now, this time I didn't exit my position, and I'll explain why I didn't exit my position. So the wave 4, I see us being in this red wave 1. This wave 4, it didn't even cross into wave 1 territory. I would have had to really contemplate what to do with my position if it did, but it didn't cross into there, so I didn't have to think about it. I just said, you know what, I'm going to hold my position, and if it goes to zero, because I am in options, it is what it is, just because I don't have that big of a position. Now, with that being said, we saw a couple big rallies out of Coinbase last week. I expect that to continue happening as long as Bitcoin and these other cryptos don't die a horrible death, which I don't think they have so far this weekend. I do see Coinbase going up to this 280 range pretty quickly. We could see 270 sometime this week if cryptos haven't completely sold off. So I'm hoping to see this 270 range first. From that point, I am going to be taking profits. And the reason behind that is because I believe that we're going up for this red wave 1. I think we're going to be in another 5-wave move up to get us up to somewhere in this 325 range. So with that being said, I do think that, we could peak around the 270, 275, or even get all the way up to 280. But with that being said, I'm not going to be greedy. If we get to 270, I'll be getting out just because at some point we're going to be topping, and then we'll probably pull back to this uptrend line. So there still should be plenty of dips to buy in Coinbase. Long term, I think if, with stock or shares, I would just hold it and I wouldn't even bother scalping it. But there should be plenty of opportunity to scalp options on this name. So I do like Coinbase long term. But with that being said, I will be scalping myself. So, all right, guys, if you like these videos, go ahead and hit like and subscribe.